as importantly, feel when you hear the Prime Minister berate Parliament?
I'm incredibly saddened by his whole approach. I think we just got to recognise that this is an incredibly difficult moment for us all, and it needs that skill of somebody to bring people together rather than deepen the divide. And his tone and conduct, I just find Parliament's bad at the best of times, but we're really plumbed new depths with him just failing to recognise that he has caused offence. He seems to have a singular inability to recognise that and say sorry. I sat next to Paul Sheriff at Prime Minister's Question Time today. She was sharing some of the emails that she was getting where people using his language back at her, and it's just immensely distressing, and I don't think he's got any real understanding of the damage that he's doing. We want a Prime Minister who leads our country, not divides it any further.
And you presumably think that's Jeremy's plan to, as yet, not decide about Brexit, but just to bring the country together and eventually have a second referendum on a Corbyn deal, a Labour deal, or remaining. And yet that doesn't seem to be working for you as an election winner. The latest YouGov poll puts you third.
Well, I think we will hopefully do a great deal better, Sheila, when we get into the short campaign, and we know the rationale behind me saying that, but I think we're putting a sensible proposal, saying to people, let's secure that extension so we don't crash out.
But are you heeding any of those polls? Because the polls for I just wonder, as a party, are you heeding those polls? And I'm not saying you live and die by them, but are you heeding them? Because, polls about leaders' personal approval rating, believability rating, Jeremy Corbyn not doing brilliantly. Neither is Boris Johnson on some, but he is doing better than Jeremy Corbyn on many. The party, the Conservatives, largely in the lead in these Westminster voting intentions polls, and now, as I said, the Lib Dems overtaking you in the latest YouGov one. And you have to heed this, don't you? You can't just sit on your hands and say, we think it'll be fine come the general election.
No, but you do take a principled stance, and you do set about a programme that you think will bring our country together, that we reach to those who voted leave and those who voted remain. There is a healing that's necessary, and we think that will ultimately be attractive to sufficient numbers of the British public, and they will see that they have that option to leave the European Union, but with a credible deal that doesn't wreck our economy. We just had news in the FT this morning about Nissan and reviewing their UK operation. I've been saying this for months and years. We would come to this, and in the years following a no-deal Brexit, or indeed any Brexit, if it's not on the right terms, will bring about the demise of our manufacturing base. But we want to put those protections in, so if we're to leave, let's do so in the least damaging way possible, and in the alternative, the option of remain. But let the people decide. Will be fully possessed of all relevant information as to where we are right now, and we can proceed on that basis. And let us please have full regard to the integrity of the United Kingdom and the issue of peace that's so underpinned by the Good Friday Agreement.
Well, he seems
and some of the discussions Sorry, Sheila.
No, do finish. No, go on.
Well, some of the discussions I've heard in the last few days, last 48 hours, fill me with dread. We're talking about customs checks in Ireland, the very thing that everybody was so determined to avoid because we know what the consequences of that could be.
Yeah, but he alluded to that today, didn't he, in the speech, Boris Johnson, and said not at or near the border. He's talking about checks in depots, checks away from the border. The checks are checks, I suppose.
We've seen that border therefore widen to a 20-mile strip that circles the north of Ireland, which is still a customs check, and this really is a worry. But I think there's a failure to recognise the reality that there's the principle of solidarity amongst the 27, and if we're leaving, then the European Union are of course, going to be continuing their support for the Republic of Ireland so that they are not damaged and undermined by the restoration of borders and checks on the island of Ireland. And that's plain as a pikestaff. But my view is I think Boris Johnson is quite deliberately propelling this country to a no-deal Brexit,
and can
or
I
at
ask
least... Sorry.
Can I ask you on that? Because I think I share that view, actually. I think I share that view. I mean, let's see when between 3 and 4 this afternoon, we're going to hear more details of what the offer is to the European Union in Parliament. But let's say you're right. Let's say our worst fears are correct. And including...
I was just going to finish my point, because where I think this is heading is that Boris Johnson is propelling us towards the 31st of October, but he wants to be able to say that in the event of an extension, well, it wasn't me, I didn't do it, I was true to my word, I didn't see the extension, those other people have done it. And then
those other people being a union, a new government.
Yeah. A new government, or a court, or a permanent secretary. It wasn't me, but I was we're forced into the situation and continue to increase the temperature in the country.
All right, I'm going to have to leave it there. Andy McDonald, and you know, we'll definitely look again after 3 o'clock once we hear in Parliament what those that new Brexit offer is to the EU. Thanks very much indeed to Andy McDonald, Shadow Secretary of State for Transport, Labour MP. Tadas has called from Holborn. Hello, Tadas.
Hi, Sheila. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous, so I will try to be as short as possible. So I watched the Boris speech, and then obviously it was a lot of controversial what he said. And then one thing what kind of clocked in my mind when he said after we're leaving the EU, he's gonna make a country great, obviously for everybody who is obeying the law.
Mm-hmm.
So most likely, I believe the Ben Act is in law. Is it?
Well, it is.
So okay. So in that case, it's not so bad. So let's say we do leave European Union on 31st of October. So technically speaking, by the 1st of November, we can just let the borders go, because this country needs to be for the people. It's going to be great for the people who are going to obey the law.
Tadas, I don't think you understand the United Kingdom. That's all I'll say to that. Thank you very much indeed for your call, Tadas, in Holborn. It really is not as simple as that. But thank you for your call. Coming up after the news at 2, I'm going to speak to and hear from Kevin Toulis. You might be familiar with Kevin's name. He wrote and spoke and reported extensively and impressively on the Troubles in Northern Ireland all those years ago, and has gone on to do other things unrelated to it. And I was having a chat with him earlier this morning. He can barely believe that we're back where we are in Ireland, at the border and on the issues affecting the Republic and Northern Ireland. But there we are. It is where we are on Brexit. Stay with us for that and more of your calls on Boris Johnson's offer, both on Brexit and domestic policy. Are you buying what he says he is selling? And around 3 o'clock, between 3 and 4, we're expecting more details to be given of what the government's offer to the European Union is. So stay with LBC for all of that. It's 2 o'clock.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. From Global's newsroom at 2 o'clock, the Prime Minister's warned of grave consequences for trust in our democracy if Brexit is not delivered. In his Conservative Party conference speech, he said again the UK is coming out of the EU on October the 31st, come what may. This afternoon, Boris Johnson and the European Commission President will discuss the UK's latest proposals for altering the backstop in the Brexit deal.
Today in Brussels, we are tabling what I believe are constructive and reasonable proposals, which provide a compromise for both sides.
He's told delegates a no deal is on the way if the EU rejects what's now on offer. The European Commission